Topic of the day, the Matrix is at it again. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's one thing the Matrix knows how to do, something that it has perfected over the centuries, over the eons, it's cause division between our fellow man and our fellow woman. The 4B movement is making its way seemingly to America on the wake of Trump's victory these past few days. We have liberal women taking to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and they are enacting the 4B movement. Now, if you don't know what the 4B movement is, it originated in South Korea. It was basically women collectively as a unit, not engaging in dating men, not engaging in sex with men, not engaging, not getting pregnant or refusing to get pregnant, which I guess is related to not having sex. And the last one I think is not marrying men. So no more marriages, no more dating, no more sexual activity, and no reproductive activity, no procreation, right? Sometimes these solutions that liberal people come up with are so self-destructive. They're not thought out. And it just goes to show how decisions can be made with raw emotion. Like you'll have a raw emotion, you'll make decisions based off of that, and it makes no sense whatsoever. The reason I say this makes no sense, this is liberal women deciding to withhold these activities from their men, which are generally also liberal men, right? So who are you really punishing here? You're not punishing conservative men. You're not punishing the men in charge or I won't even say the men in charge. You're not punishing anybody who's at the top, the elites that make these decisions. You are punishing your husbands, your boyfriends, your fiance, somebody that you're dating. Like you're withholding love, you're withholding activity towards somebody who generally agrees with you for the most part, you would assume. Liberal women tend to date liberal men, and liberal men tend to have the same values. So who are you really hurting? For those conservative women out there who laugh at stuff like this, who obviously don't agree with liberal values, they're not participating in this, right? This is where the two-party line thing, it really puts a wrench in movements like this, because you're not going to get everybody on board. If at the most you'll get a 50% participation rate, and that 50% participation rate is just going to be yourself, liberal women who are withholding from liberal men who have agreed or do agree with you, who voted alongside you, right? Who have the same values as you, and generally who don't have the power to make those changes. So and this is this like I said, this is the self-destructive thinking that I feel honestly turns people off to liberal ideals and democratic values, because the solutions that are generally created are self-destructive. And I'm not even going to get into the election and why Trump won and why Kamala lost. There may be a video for a different time where I could really go down and drill down into some of the key things that happened that really, that made that happen, that made Trump win. But it's these reactions to these emotional problems that keep the cycle going, keep the cycle of division going. So for all you liberal women who think the 4B movement is going to solve anything, I really, I'm not affected. We're not liberals. We're not conservatives. We don't, me and my wife, we're not worldly in that sense. And we don't participate in trends out there that happen. But for these liberal women who think that this is going to solve something, like, what do you really think this is going to solve? Do you think by not fucking your liberal boyfriend or your liberal husbands, that conservative men are going to be affected and make changes? Like, tell me where the logic is there. Where's the connection to the solution or the goal that you're seeking? And tell me how this is going to achieve that goal, because it's not. There's a separation there. There's a separation of emotion, there's a separation of logic, and there's definitely a separation of a solution. Also, right, the other irony about this, and you have to talk about it, you have to call it out. What else is ironic about this is you're withholding sex, and you're withholding procreation, and you're withholding marriage to your liberal boyfriends or husbands, right? When it comes to the abortion thing, without getting too deep into it, you're actively choosing to refrain from the activity which you will need abortions for. If your whole thing is you want to be able to abort freely, most people on the conservative side, the solution is, say, stop having sex, stop having unprotected sex, right? You won't need an abortion. And it's like full circle, come back around. You're making the choice to not make babies, therefore you won't need abortions. Like the mind fuck that's going on here and the thinking around this is really confusing, because there'll be less if you follow through with this movement, there'll be less pregnancies. You won't need abortions. You're solving the problem that you claim you won't have a solution for, which makes the conservative point: abstinence. Stop having unprotected sex. Like, this is a full circle jerk of justification and reasoning that just makes no sense. For anybody out there who think the 4B movement is going to do something, you're only going to punish your own men. Your birth rates are going to decline. If anything, your values, your liberal democratic values, if this really takes hold and this 4B movement blows up on the Democratic side, your birth rates are going to drop. Your men are going to be miserable. And again, they agree with you. They're not the ones in control of this. It's a self-destructive solution for you, but it also solves the abortion issue, because less and less of you guys will be getting pregnant. So I say all that to say the real solution here, if you're upset about things, this ain't it. To be honest, I can't tell you what it is. I feel like there's more self-awareness and self-revelation that may be required on your end about this entire issue, about women's rights in general. But if you think not fucking your liberal boyfriends or liberal husbands is going to solve anything, hopefully I just illustrated why it's just not, and it's just going to be self-destruction. So again, more power to you if you think that's going to work. But 4B movement, if it comes to America, it's really only going to be half the population. It's only going to be y'all. You know what I'm saying? And conservative women and other women that doesn't tie to a political party line, they're not going to participate in this at all.